The main talking points leaving the Cayala Grand Prix and leading into the round of Germany was the collision between Alexis Rainsford and Brian Sendak on lap 21. That sent Sendak out of the race and handed Alexis a black flag, which she insisted she would not have served because she felt it was an unjust penalty. Rainsford's case being there that had it been any other driver, the black flag would have not been assessed, meaning, of course, had it been any other driver that she had hit. And I believe she's referring there to if she had not run into one of the Team SAR USA cars, she would not have received a penalty, and that other such incidents have gone unpunished in the past. That being said, the officials didn't take too kindly to that, and they did call her to the hall of pre-race before practice. During practice, after the qualifying race, Ilya Danilov in the 318 car made a hard impact at the Turn 3 wall, and he was knocked unconscious in that car. He's perfectly okay. He was at the track on Saturday for pole qualifying, but car 318 will be driven today by Mikhail Polyakov, the 37-year-old driver who's the replacement, who's the first reserve driver for that team. And Polyakov was scheduled to be making his one and only attempt later this season, but he'll get his first start here at the EuroSpeedway. That being said, Dan, off to you. Thank you, Lance. The Delano Pole Award went to Lewis Kingston in car number 44, hoping that this pole run will turn his season around. Kingston has had a disaster of a season so far, but it's not due to any fault of his. It's all been due to mechanical problems and or crashes with other drivers early in the race. You can't buy luck like this, though. Stuart Sandoval on the warm-up lap lost the gearbox in his Corsa. When Sandoval shifted up to second gear to take the start, it created a big cloud of smoke in the back of the car, and Sandoval went out of the race basically before it started. Back up front, Lewis Kingston in car 44, still haven't completed lap 1. Here comes Tony Durbin on the inside of his teammate Ethan Everett. And Durbin's going to have a challenge at the Inglesby for the lead of the race early on. Tony Durbin has been very strong here at the oval tracks, but here at this 3-turn course, very similar to Carbondale in the States, and also to the Pocono Raceway, has been a track that Tony Durbin seems to specialize at. Jacques Bouvier started very far to the back of the field. The Frenchman did not have a good qualifying effort, even though he practiced very well. Jacques Bouvier is another driver who has done very well at the larger ovals. He is the 2009 TM Lights champion, and his success on these larger ovals was the key to his championship. Joel Rodriguez is back, running for the Independence Trophy for the Jinx Racing team. This team came back from the dead, pretty much, after Rodriguez had an off-track head injury after he was released from the 44 car last season. He's driving the Omeka MA01, which is considered to be the most well-developed car on the track, but Rodriguez is a little bit rusty, so he wasn't quite up to speed immediately. However, it's good to see him making the field. Tony Durbin in car 33, running up towards the front now. Here he has a go at Lewis Kingston, trying to take away from the lead, but Kingston is also strong on these kinds of tracks. Zach Duff running there in third in that 28 car. That's another guy who's had a very luckless season there. Duff's now going to have a run at Durbin, not in this corner though. He's going to have to do it quickly because Ethan Everett in the 11's all over him, as is local hero Franz Redlich in the 2. Redlich has not had much luck this season, and he's also had not much in the pace department ever since Brazil. Zach Duff going for the lead now, but here comes Ethan Everett to make it 3 wide as Everett moves on the inside to take over the lead of the race. You'll notice these cars are going around this track awfully fast. They are approaching the speeds that the Indy cars and Champ cars ran here a few years ago. Mikhail Polyakov, the 37-year-old driver Lance spoke of, started last on, well, not last in grid, he started very close to the rear of the field, but he's currently running last of all the cars that are still running. That puts him 38th in 38th place. Of course, 39 cars started this race. Running back there with Rodriguez and Vladimir Simonov. Polyakov has not been the most highly regarded driver by his peers. However, he's still learning, and this is his first career oval track start. What a baptism by fire. Katsev Engineering was insistent on having Polyakov in the car since their other reserve driver, Alexis Stojanovic, was not available for the weekend. Tom Delgado in car 837 having a very strong run early on. You see Delgado trying to muscle his way towards the front of the field. This is the most competitive we've seen Tom Delgado all season, and that's saying something. Tom Delgado has, in recent races, had the measure over his two teammates, Emino Tenchi and Azuma Kazuyama. Delgado is somewhat, some people think that Delgado is driving for his career this season, and it looks like he might just be doing it. There you see Lewis Kingston on the inside of Delgado. He had Kingston and Delgado both had strong runs at Karyala. However, neither one of them got the finishes that they would have liked. Ethan Everett in the 11 makes a run at Tony Durbin for the race lead. This looks like shades of the round of Texas earlier in the year, where Durbin and Everett were basically the only cars in contention for the win. However, the only problem is the racing is a lot closer here in Germany than it was in Texas due to the different tire compound, which is probably the reason for the quick speeds here. Ethan Everett in car 11 having a strong run so far as he moves into the lead of the race. Everett, the youngest driver in the field by far. Neil Stallone in car number 1 having a strong run now. He's going to lead this race leading the Independence Trophy regardless of where he finishes because he is less than 10 points behind Cyrus Laterza, and the least number of points you can get in this race is 30 or so. On the inside of Tom Delgado now, car number 1, Nils Stallone currently leads the Team Europe points. He extended his championship lead in that series after winning this race because the Team Europe cars supported the Master Cup cars here this week. Talonen having a very strong run in the FinTech car number 1. The Cats of cars are not having a very strong run so far. Polyakov, Watts, and Simonov are all running basically at the back of the field. That other car back there is Kurt Pliskin in the 16, who got shuffled out in the draft. So Pliskin's got a faster car than this. He's just not showing right this second. Polyakov is not doing very well so far, but neither is Nosova. But Nosova is at least catching up with the rest of the field, so there is some suspicions that the Cats of cars are beginning to fall well behind in the development pace, and this could lead to them falling even further behind as the season goes on. Tom Delgado in car 837, showing that he's got some serious speed in reserve as he's going to move for the lead around Ethan Everett in car 11 and Nils Stallone in the 1. Drew Eisenman in car 31, you see there, started towards the back of the field. He's actually making his way towards the front. Talonen making a move for the lead in the 1 car. Remember, Nils Talonen is thinking only for the Independence Trophy, and so therefore this race means a great deal to him. More so to him than it would to any other driver in the field, probably, except for maybe Franz Redlich, since this is his home race. Speaking of events here in Germany, here's Alexis Rainsford, who tested a Formula A car not too long ago at the, I can't remember the name of the track, it's a private testing facility in Germany for that team. And of course, Rainsford said, of course, that those open wheel cars aren't very dissimilar to these Master Cup cars. The only difference is Master Cup cars are about 1,200 pounds heavier. Of course, she's referring to the level of grip that these cars have and the amount of traction, which, as you can see right now, is clearly the case. These Master Cup cars are absolutely flying around the EuroSpeedway Lausitz. Here's Franz Redlich. He's dropped back through the field a little bit, but the hometown hero has set the fastest lap of the race. Not only did he set the fastest lap of the race, he set it by a very significant margin. He's over a tenth faster than the rest of the field. That's what a home race can do for you, apparently. Danny Savin in car 91 has not had a very good season so far. He's well behind his two teammates. However, the two-time Karyala winner is going to have to be expected to fight for his drive next season because Alan Hodges has apparently told Danny Savin that if he does not pick it up, he will not be given a spot in the team next season. Alan Hodges himself has not said anything about whether or not he will continue driving. However, with the way Hodges is going, he probably will continue driving for his own team. Franz Redlich in the 2 has dropped a little further back. We're focusing on him an awful lot because this is, of course, his home race, and this is a very special weekend for him. But I forgot to also mention he became a father this past week. And, well, if you believe in superstitions, the birth of children do not bode well for racing drivers. Tom Delgado in the lead is going to have to deal with Scandinavia Mania of Arto Kekkonen in the 14 and Matthias Taub in the 38. The two, the Finnish driver and the Swedish driver, are going to go right around Tom Delgado, but Delgado is earning a lot of respect so far for his drive today. Kekkonen and Taub are beginning to gain a lot of respect for their oval prowess. This is This is a lot better than what we saw Arto do at the ovals last season. His lack of pace in some of the larger ovals arguably would cost him a shot at the championship. And Taub has not raced on ovals very often in his entire career. Ethan Everett and Zach Duff shuffle back towards the front of the field. There you see that black and gold car of Danny Savin working his way into the picture. Obviously, the fire Alan Hodges has lit under his butt is certainly working so far. Danny Savin having a top 5 run so far. Zach Duff in car 28. This is, I believe, his sponsor's home race, so obviously there's some incentive to perform well there. And Duff is currently the fastest of the Volpes in the field. However, this shouldn't really be much of a surprise since, of all the 3 Volpe drivers, he probably has the most experience on oval tracks. So, Duff is also doing well, and you'll also see Adrian Devereaux in that dark blue, black, and orange car, number 26, helping his teammate out, Danny Savin in the 91. There you'll also see Stephanie McGlynn in the 37 car, so it looks like that the STS cars, the Ocean Motorsports cars, are beginning to actually find some speed this season. Looks like ever since their Corialla victory, they've apparently been a bit confident, and they're using that momentum, and they're carrying it into this week because McGlynn is currently running in second place, Zach Duff in the Volpe leading. Ethan Everett has a good run and is going to try to make a pass around Duff around the outside. Coming into turn 1, we're going to see if it's going to work. Not quite. Duff's going to be able to hold on, but here comes Danny Savin in car number 91. There is Devereaux in the 26. Right behind there you see McGlynn in the middle. Looks like Duff's going to be able to hold on. Looks like Everett needed a bit more momentum in order to keep the pass. Woody Watts in car 041 loses the engine in that car on lap 29. So, the Katsev cars have not had a very good weekend so far, and this is just continuing their streak of misery. Danny Savin is going to be holding the lead in this shot in car 91. Ethan Everett on the inside in the 11 is going to be moving around Savin to take over the lead of the race. Everett, we're not sure if he's going to be getting new sponsors for next season. However, we expect an announcement that he'll be retained by the team. Even though Everett has not really been performing as well as people expected, he does seem to be impressing the team bosses well enough. Rachel Rainsford is going to be the first car to make green flag pit stops as late as lap 48, which is almost half distance. This is a 100-lap race, and Rachel pits from 19th place. This is the most competitive we've seen Rachel all season, and that is saying something. Scott Stoidler in car 23 is going to assume the lead of the race. Tony Durbin in second right there. Drew Eisenman has come up from third. I mentioned he didn't have a good qualifying effort. Eisenman has slipped in qualifying a few times, but in the races he's always seemed to be able to make it up. Arto Kekkonen pitted on lap 51 from 11th. Arto justified this by avoiding the amount of traffic in the pits. Danny Savin pitted from 3rd on lap 52. Dale Roswell, Zach Duff, Adrian Devereaux all pitted afterwards, along with Leon Keniston, who was having a very strong run. And then everyone else stopped on lap 54, except for Ian Cooper, and I believe that's no, that wasn't Marcus Leonard. Ian Cooper pitted all by himself on lap 55 in the 777 car. Tom Delgado had problems in the pit lane, and oil line came loose in this car. Oh, how gut-wrenching does that have to be? Same thing happened on Alexis Rainsford's car. So we've had 2 oil line problems on those cars. And how about this for gut-wrenching? Lewis Kingston blows an engine. We've had another problem with the Inglesby cars, and it's another problem with Kingston's car. So here we have David Krikorian. Now he's going to get turned into the wall by the 12 of Matt Taylor. He's going to go spinning across the grass with Ashby. Zelda Ashby in the 55. Ashby regains control of the car. Krikorian does likewise. But this doesn't bring out a yellow flag, of all things. Why, I don't know. This clearly should have brought out a yellow flag, if and only to check to see if Kingston had been dropping oil all over the track. Arto Kekkonen came out of the pit cycle leading the race. Yamino Tenchi came out in second. And Kurt Pliskin of Power Steering Incorporated in third. Stephanie McGlynn in the Red Bull STS back there had a dismal pit stop. Apparently they had lug nut problems on that car on the left front and on the right rear. This is the battle for fourth. Franz Redlich and Tony Durbin. Redlich, of course, being cheered on by the home crowd here. We've seen a lot of German flags in the stands and a lot of air horns sounded when he was introduced during driver introductions. Tony Durbin having a very strong run here, as usual. There was also a lot of support from France because the 2 French drivers, Devereaux and Bouvier, having a very strong effort, and we saw a lot of cheers when they were introduced as well. And a lot of French flags being flown in the grandstands as well. it's good to see a lot of international support here in Germany for the Cup Series. Kurt Pliskin in car 16, Marcus Leonard in car 999 having very strong runs as well, along with Ian Cooper in the 777. Apparently that pit gamble paid off because Ian Cooper's pace this season has been questionable at best. You see he's having a battle with Leonard there. Alexis Rainsford going a lap down in this picture, but she's going to show how to be a gracious back marker, moves out of the way as much as possible. In that 27 car, Alexis has not shown too much pace at some of these higher speed ovals. However, she did show a lot of pace when she won earlier in the season in Japan, which was an oval track that required more of a better handling car than anything else. Lap 62, Yulia Nasova in trouble in the 7 car. We believe there's problems with the fuel injector on that car and fuel injection system on that car, so problems there. Here we have David Krikorian in the 9 demonstrating to the class how not to be a gracious back marker as he's all over the place instead of holding one lane like Alexis Rainsford and Tom Delgado managed to do. Krikorian was weaving that 9 car all over the place. He's going to pull that car way to the outside. It's going to cost even more time for the drivers behind him. Jacques Bouvier and Tony Durbin had choice words for Krikorian's car. Bouvier's Krikorian's own teammate, and he was slagging him out. That doesn't bode well for intra-team rivalry there. Leon Kenniston, the short track specialist, is going to hold on to the lead here in this 39 car. Rather, he's going to take the lead. Kenniston has shown that he is one of the top drivers in this series, and he's managed to do it the old school way, coming up from some of the shorter ovals and without too much experience on road courses, unlike someone like Jacques Bouvier, who came up from a road racing background and has actually been more competitive on ovals in this series than he has on road circuits. Guess who? David Krikorian again. Apparently he got the memo from Bouvier that Bouvier wasn't too impressed with him and held up Bouvier. And he apparently also got the message that Tony Durbin flipped him the bird earlier on when Durbin was lapping him. However, this act of DK's caused the first caution of the race on lap number 81 of 100. Here he is, being slow and being lapped by the second pack of cars. Scott Bates runs into him. DK goes into the wall. Rodriguez goes spinning, and Leonard Roderick gets a piece in the 4 car. So, Krikorian's caused an incident from his lack of pace. He's been well off the pace. These past couple laps, almost 3 seconds slower than the leading cars. Here they come. Krikorian tries to move to the outside, but on an oval track, you do not change your lane when you are a back marker. When you are a back marker, you hold your line, especially with a closing rate like this. Big disappointment for the hometown crowd, as when his underpacing Franz Redlich detected a huge vibration in that car, and he brought it into the pits. The vibration turned out to be terminal. So, to the great disappointment of the crowd, Franz Redlich, who was running second under that yellow flag, would be out of the race. Jacques Bouvier in the 59 car would assume the lead of the race with Arto Kekkonen in second place and Tony Durbin in third. I don't know how I mistake Arto Kekkonen for Adrian Devereaux. Anyway, Stephanie McGlynn is a lap down, but McGlynn is fast enough to actually be able to race with the leaders, so it's kind of hard how to judge that. Arto Kekkonen in the 14 is going to take advantage and move around Bouvier for the lead of the race. However, on the inside, Yamino Tenchi in the 831 is making a charge using draft from her teammate. So even though Tom Delgado's a lap down, he's still able to play the part of a team player and help Yamino Tenchi get to the lead of the race because Delgado is on the leader's pace right now. Arto Kekkonen is currently leading, but Yamino Tenchi running second. Caution 2 on lap 87. So, we're not done wrecking, it would seem. And this time it would be caused by a mechanical problem with Chris Johans' car. We believe it's a tire going down from this angle. Johan slows down. Looks like someone didn't tell Dale Roswell in time. Looks like his spotter just wasn't able to tell Roswell that Johans had a tire going down and he was slowing suddenly. And Johans got spun into the wall. No harm, no foul. Johans returned to the race. Arto Kekkonen was leading, and since this was less than 10 laps to go, the rules call for single file restarts, meaning that there is going to be some lap traffic in between Kekkonen in the 14 and second place. Yamino Tenchi in the 831. Rainsford moves, gets in the way a little bit. And of course, Rainsford's going to recant that and move out and move to the outside and let the leaders go for the win. McGlynn doesn't seem to get the memo. Whoa. See, Yamino Tenchi having some problems getting around Rainsford's car. This is what happens when you have lap cars that are on the same pace as the leaders, having their own battle for positions right in the same part of the racetrack that the leaders are having. a battle for their own position. You do have incidents like this. Nothing you can really do about that. That's just part of racing. Arto Kekkonen in the lead. In second place is Yumino Tenchi. In third, Jacques Bouvier in the closing stages of the race. Neither of these drivers has won on an oval track before, so we're going to see how this is going. Well, Bouvier's not won on an oval track on the Cup side, at least. Arto Kekkonen and Yumino Tenchi having a battle for the lead here. Less than 10 laps to go now, as they are moving in towards the finish of the race. Yumino Tenchi, the Japanese driver, sweeps into the lead in the Biento Nomoto for the Star team. That team has not won a race since Parker Jr. won for them at New York last year. Here comes Arto, though, on the inside. He's hungry for his first win of the year. In car number 14, he moves by, and Arto Kekkonen takes the lead of the race. As we come down with less than 5 laps to go now, I believe there are 5 laps to go now. Alan Hodges in the 13 moving in a position to win this race. Adrian Devereaux in the 26 is there. Kurt Pliskin in the 16 car has shown up as a contender. So is Zach Duff in the 28 in the back. As here we go now. Tenchi having a move on the lead. She's not going to be able to take it here, but she might have a shot in turn 1. Alan Hodges, the Welshman, has a good run at it. He's going to go wide in turn 1. There it goes. Bouvier on the inside in the 59 car, and his own teammate Adrian Devereaux. Here comes Jacques Bouvier now on the inside of Arto Kekkonen, as he's now going to have a run at Tenchi. Kekkonen apparently ran turn 1 a little wide. Here comes David Krikorian, though, with 2 laps to go. Guess what? He's getting in the way, and this is really uncalled for, because this could have been a really good finish here, but Krikorian has bogged things up, and not only that, but he's going to cause another caution doing this. This is going to turn several heads and going to make people think, what was he thinking? Adrian Devereaux is going to make contact with the car in front of him, and he's going to send him an Independence Trophy contender. Charlie Waters going flying through the air along with Azuma Kazuyama in the 839. Kazuyama, who'd run a very anonymous race and looked to be set for a top 10 run here, he's going to get hit by Devereaux, going to send flying up into Alexis Rainsford. Kazuyama's car goes over, he gets into Waters, goes for some little automotive gymnastics. Roderick tries to slow down, but he misses Kazuyama. Roderick rolls the car over a few times, but Roderick climbed out of the car with some help from rescuers, because, of course, the windows jammed in a little bit. Tony Durbin involved in the 33, McGlynn involved. And so is Joel Rodriguez in the 86, who was set to have a top run. Oh, that was a nasty hit by Roderick. Roderick applied the brakes, according to his telemetry. But now this was apparently well-deserved, because Arto Kekkonen said he was out to smash the 9 car. He had no intention of passing David Krikorian cleanly there. So Arto Kekkonen clearly furious with Krikorian, and this started a bit of a tete-a-tete in the pits. And also it sent David Krikorian to the hauler, and apparently Arto Kekkonen was invited there as well. But this will give Jacques Bouvier in car number 59 his maiden win of the season, and his maiden win of his career in this series. Jacques Bouvier finally coming up to his promise, and he takes home his first career win, unfortunately in a very controversial finish that involved a big accident. That could have been a much closer finish, but if you'll take your first win, I'm pretty sure you take it no matter what the circumstances were. Yumino Tenchi in second, Marcus Leonard in third. Neither of those 2 drivers have won yet, but both are very close to doing so, I believe. Ethan Everett in fourth. Vladimir Simonov picks up the best finish ever for the Katsev Engineering team. Well done, Vladimir. Scott Stoidler in sixth. Rachel Rainsford rallies from what appeared to be a bad pit strategy call in seventh. Danny Savin in eighth. That's really the kind of finish he needed in order to help his season out. Beating his team owner, notably, Alan Hodges. Remember, Hodges didn't have some nice things to say about Savin's driving earlier in the season, saying that Savin needed to pick up the pace a bit. And Arto Kekkonen in 10th. You should probably note that that kind of motivation is exactly what Danny Savin has needed in the past. Whenever his team bosses have motivated him, we've seen the best of Danny Savin, including those 2 Cariala wins. And here we go now to the top 10 in the point standings, leaving Germany. Tony Durbin holds the lead, but it's not by much. 22 points over Drew Eisenman, 23 over Marcus Leonard, who is becoming a real threat for the Master Cup Series Championship. Adrian Devereaux in 4th, Alan Hodges in 5th. And now you wonder why they're worried about Danny Savin's pace. Arto Kekkonen in 6th, Alexis Rainsford drops to 7th. 54 points, though, is she's not impossible for her to win this championship, and neither for Jacques Bouvier, Scott Bates, or Leonid Roderick. Remember, we have 11 races to go. All of these drivers are still contenders for the Master Cup Series Championship. As I believe is everyone in 11 through 20. Scott Stoyler is tied with Leonid Roderick for the 10th spot. Ethan Everett, Chris Johans is still a legitimate contender for this championship. 83 points is not a unreasonable amount of points to make up in the remaining races left. Matt Taylor, the 2004 champion. Woody Watts has won the RROL championship before, so he knows what it takes to win a title. Yumino Tenchi, of course, the former Japanese GT driver. Leon Keniston in the 39 car. Zelda Ashby in the 55. Dale Roswell in the 17 car won this championship back in 1989. That's quite a long time ago. And Tom Delgado in the 837 car is beginning to remind people that he really does have some driving talent. And now we go to look at the Independence Trophy standings, and this is going to become an interesting championship as well. Nils Talonen has jumped up into the lead of the Independence Trophy. This is the first lead change in the Independence Trophy standing since the beginning of the season. Cyrus Laterza drops to second, and Laterza has said that he doesn't think he can win the Independence Trophy based on the fact that he did not qualify for Coriala. However, we'll have to see about that. Charlie Waters in third has emerged as a contender. We didn't talk much about Waters all day because he didn't have a very, he wasn't really very noticed. He ran a very anonymous race, and he got caught up in that late race incident. But still, Waters has done well enough in order to put himself third on the Independence Trophy list. Colin Evans, his teammate, in fourth. Allie Riggs and Craig Janser are tied at fifth. Then it's Esko Cascella and Todd Arseek, Thomas Duke and Palmer Stiles. No changes in the Independence Trophy from fifth on down. The only major changes was Talonen into the lead and Charlie Waters in third.